Kim Jin-heevan led a very happy life up until his third year in high school. Then everything started to fall apart. He was bullied and his dad died from cancer. Kim was never the best in school. He always barely passed the exams, but still he worked hard. Finally, he was able to go to college and finish it with a medical degree. Kim then became a surgeon. He tried his best to save as many people as possible. Still, life was not easy. Soon he got divorced from his wife. His mother was living in a horrible apartment and Kim was always broke. Kim suffered like this for many years until he finally found out that he had terminal cancer. After years and years of hard work, it was all ending. Loan sharks came to offer Kim a deal. He could pay off his debts if they took all of his organs, and moments later his landlord kicked him out of his apartment. Basically, this man's entire life was falling apart. He was ashamed to face his mother and he was lost. Kim decided to get drunk and just cry for a while. Then a mysterious woman came to talk with him. Kim did not recognize her, but she explained that a few years ago he saved her and her husband when they were stabbed. Kim performed the surgery and saved their lives. This mysterious woman has now returned to repay that favor. She offers Kim a second chance. At this point, Kim is too drunk to understand anything, but this woman explains that she is from heaven and she gives Kim a drink that is made of pure energy. Kim drinks it, not thinking much about it. The woman then asks him what he wants. Kim slowly starts to fade, but he tells her that he just wants to be a good son, a good man, and have some success in his life. Suddenly, Kim vanishes and the woman sits alone. She wishes him good luck. In that moment, Kim wakes up, but something is different now. He is in high school again in his old apartment. Kim is young again. Kim cannot believe that this has happened. He has a second chance. His entire life, those 30 years of hell just seemed like a dream, and now he is awake again. He is young and he can change it all. He goes into his living room and tells his parents that he loves them. His father in the original timeline dies this year. Kim is very emotional seeing his parents so young. That same day he goes to school and there is an exam. Kim is super nervous, and also he forgot a lot of this content since he hasn't been in school for years. He is nervous, but as soon as the test is over he rushes back home. He has a lot of thinking to do. Kim starts to think about his future and what should he be. He decides that being a surgeon is a waste of time. He should be a dermatologist and get rich. For the next few weeks, Kim just spends his time studying. He wants to make his mother and father proud in this timeline. His father runs a restaurant, so Kim goes to help him. His father praises him and Kim feels emotional. He has not seen his father for many years. This whole experience is such a blessing for him. He does not want to waste this second chance. Kim takes part in more exams at his school, and soon the results arrive. Everyone is shocked to hear that Kim is now in first place in the entire class. That's how good his results are. Even the class president congratulates him. Kim is proud, but he is even more happy when he shows the results to his mother and father. His mother breaks up in tears and his father goes to a party. That night, his father tells him that he loves him. Kim realizes that he has already changed this timeline for the better. Summer break hits and Kim works at the family restaurant. Also, he asks his father to join a kickboxing club. His father is friends with the director and the owner of the club. Kim joins that club and starts to work out there. He tells the owner that he wants to learn kickbox so that he can defend himself in the future in real fights. He starts to train day in and day out. It's brutal and hard work. Still, Kim is not doing this for no reason. In the original timeline, there was a bully who made his life horrible. Kim will meet the bully after this summer, so he wants to be ready. Now Kim will learn how to fight so that he is never bullied again. This time it will be different. Some time passes and Kim starts to go into a new year of high school. He's actually becoming a bit more popular since he is getting such good grades. Kim still works really hard as he studies every day. He wants to get into medical school and make his parents really proud. A new year starts, and that is when we are introduced to the main villain, the bully who harassed Kim all those years. Lee Saemin enters class and the teacher is angry that he is late. Lee then reminds the teacher who his family is, and the teacher is now terrified. There are rumors that Lee comes from a very wealthy family. Lee sits right behind Kim, and now Kim is nervous. He does not want what happened in the previous timeline to happen again. The next few days go rather quiet. Kim is popular and everyone wants to hang out with him. Lee does not harass him but asks him to hang out. Kim rejects this offer and leaves. Lee then decides to bully his best friend and also make his life horrible. It seems that Lee is just horrible, no matter what timeline it is. He does not like that Kim is so popular and gets good scores. Kim is going to have to face his bully eventually, even in this better timeline. Kim's best friend is called Moonjin, and he gets really badly beaten by Lee and his helper. Moonjin tells Kim that they cannot hang out anymore, it's too dangerous. Right away, Kim realizes that Lee has started to terrorize people he cares about. This time, Kim will not allow this to happen. He goes straight towards Lee and asks him if he hit Moonjin. Lee is very chill about it, and he basically confirms that he did all of it. Kim in that moment remembers how Lee harassed him for many years and how he never had any reason for it. While Kim is not taking it this time, he grabs Lee and hits him full force. Lee cannot defend himself at all. Kim's skills are too good. Lee falls to the ground. He calls his friend to save him. His friend is a giant and he hits Kim pretty hard. Still, Kim does not give up at all. He gets back up and starts to fight the giant bully. Kim has learned a lot of kickboxing skills, so he can match the giant bully. He manages to actually take him down as well. Now everyone in the school is there looking. Kim then grabs Lee and forces him to apologize to Moonjin. Lee is actually scared and he tells Moonjin that he is sorry. Kim has really started something new. Lee is actually shocked. He is embarrassed and also beaten up. He gets up and tells Moonjin he is sorry once again and leaves. Kim is then cheered on by everyone. They are all in love with him and they celebrate him. Kim cannot believe that he actually won. This is the first time he won against Lee, and now he feels like he can start a new journey. Moonjin thanks Kim and begs him to be friends again. Kim is of course happy with this situation, and he now wants to focus on his schoolwork. Soon exams arrive, and Kim just wants to get good results. Suddenly, he is called by a teacher. Kim realizes that he is in big trouble. The teacher tells him that he has beaten up an innocent student, and now he is really going to get punished. Kim tries to explain his side of the story, but the teacher does not listen. The teacher explains that Lee has an insane family that is super wealthy and their influence is huge. Now comes the shocking part. Kim is going to be expelled from school. Kim cannot believe this and tries to explain how this is an injustice. Suddenly, Lee shows up and for some reason he supports Kim. Lee tells the teacher and the principal that they should not expel Kim. Kim still does not understand why Lee is acting like this. Some time passes and Kim once more does great on his tests. Lee actually congratulates him and tries to act nice. While Lee acts all nice, he is actually having a breakdown. He wants to punish Kim and he is losing his mind for being humiliated. Some time passes. Kim does even better in school and his parents are super happy. His father gets drunk every time he gets great results. Kim is now worried his father will die in 2 years from stomach cancer. Kim decides to talk with his father about something important. He gives him some money and decides to send him to the doctor. Kim and his father had an agreement that he would do him a favor because he did great at school. Kim's father does not want to accept this offer as he does not want to waste money, and he thinks he is healthy. Kim once again confronts his father and tells him to honor his promise. Kim goes to make a call with a doctor and an appointment is made. The following day, Kim's father goes to the doctor. Kim now hopes that the cancer will be detected earlier so they can cure him this time. He does not want to lose his father again. Kim goes to school, but he is nervous the entire time. He is nervous about the results. Class ends and Kim is running back home. He cannot wait to talk with his mother and father. His mother is home alone and Kim asks her about the results. She tells Kim that it's great news. The results are all clean and great. Kim's father is totally healthy. Kim is now really confused because this does not make sense at all. His mother and father tell Kim that there is nothing wrong with the results. His father is totally healthy. The doctor just said that there is some light inflammation but nothing serious. Kim is shocked by this. He cannot believe it. He thanks his father for going to see the doctor. Kim is still not really satisfied with this answer. A part of him thinks that there are two options in this scenario. Either his father is totally healthy and he won't die, or the doctor made a mistake. Kim decides to use his medical knowledge from his previous life and he goes to see the doctor. At first, the nurse tells him to get lost. She tries to be nice, but she does not want to set up a meeting with the doctor. Kim demands that he meet the doctor and he has that right. The nurse is surprised that Kim knows all the rules about the hospital system, so she allows him to meet up with the doctor. Kim has to wait for a while, but finally he goes into the doctor's office. The doctor once more confirms that the results are clear and nothing is wrong with Kim's father. Kim needs some convincing, so he starts to question the doctor. The doctor right away gets angry. Why is this high school kid asking him so many medical questions? The doctor tries to tell Kim to leave as he is being rude. Kim then once more demands to see the photos from the exam. He wants to see what the results were himself. The doctor realizes that he has to show a patient the results. Kim then starts to look at the photos from the exam. At first it all seems fine, but suddenly Kim notices something. He notices bumps in the stomach. He demands to get the photos for himself and basically he embarrasses the doctor. Kim himself has found something weird in the results. The doctor is sorry for this mistake. Kim takes the results and he wants to go talk with another expert. Kim will do everything he can to prevent his father from dying. Kim goes to his father and tells him about his findings. Of course, his father does not believe him at this point. Kim is just a high school student, but still Kim demands to see another doctor. His parents agree to it and he makes an appointment in the Hospital of Korea, a very exclusive hospital. There they met with Professor Choi Daewon. Kim remembers him from his past life. Professor Choi was much older when Kim met him and he was really mean and harsh. Still, Choi has insane skills and he wants to see the results and try to find something out. Just moments after looking at the photo, he breaks the bad news. Yes, Kim's father does have stomach cancer. Both parents freeze from the fear. This is horrible news. Still, there is a bright side since it has been discovered so early. The survival rate is almost 90%. The family is super happy, but Choi wants to know how they found this out. Kim's mother tells Choi that the doctor did not find this, it was her son Kim. Choi then tells the family that basically Kim saved his own father's life. If they had waited for a year, the father would have been dead for sure. Professor Choi thinks that they need to start treatment right away. They actually first have to perform surgery. For the cancer to be totally gone, they have to take out most of the stomach. The family is surprised by this, as that is very dangerous. Kim then comes up with another idea, and he shocks Professor Choi with his concept of the stomach membrane surgery. Professor Choi is certain that the only way to save Kim's father would be to take out his entire stomach. Anything else could risk the cancer returning at some point. Kim shocks him with his theory. Kim tries to pretend that he just read a book, but he tells Professor Choi that doing an operation with an endoscope might be better. With that version of the operation, they do not have to cut out the stomach at all. Professor Choi is shocked by this, and at first he thinks this plan will not work. He thinks that the cancer is too deep. Professor Choi is now very curious about how Kim has all this information. No normal medical student could know such special treatments. Kim explains that he has just been getting ready for medical university, so he has been studying a lot and reading many books. Kim goes on to explain that since the cancer is still not spread and is still small, an endoscope process would be much better, and they could get rid of it fast. Choi is impressed that he could come up with such a plan, but he agrees to follow what Kim said. Kim's father and mother are super proud, and they brag that their son is beyond smart. Kim's father spends some time in the hospital. They do many tests on him to find out how big the cancer is, and finally they do the operation just as Kim advised them. Professor Choi does the operation. The operation lasts about 2 hours and Kim's mother gets nervous. Kim is confident that his father will now be okay, as he just wants to change the original timeline and save his father. Finally, Professor Choi arrives and tells them that the operation went great and that the father will make a full recovery. A few days go by and Kim spends time with his dad in the hospital room. Soon Professor Choi arrives and praises Kim for his strategy in terms of operation. Also, Professor Choi wants Kim to come study with him at the University of Korea. Choi is certain that Kim could achieve great results as a doctor and save many people. While Kim is grateful for the offer, he already lived that life. He studied hard his entire life and worked hard to save as many people as possible. This led to him leading a horrible life with a lot of stress and not much joy. Kim does not want to do that again. Kim tells his father that he will not work with Professor Choi. Instead, he will study dermatology. Kim has determined that with the medical field, he can earn a lot of money and not have a hard life at all. Kim spends more time with his father in the hospital. He also studies a lot for his final exams for the current semester. One day, while at the hospital, Kim spots something odd. It's very late at night, but he sees two guys having a heated argument. Soon he realizes that one of them is Lee Sangmin, his school bully. It seems that Lee is having an argument with his older brother, and it's getting very heated. Lee is never this serious at school, but now he seems to be totally quiet and scarred. The older brother seems to be a doctor, and he is furious. Suddenly, the older brother hits Lee straight in the face, shocking Kim. The older brother storms off and Kim hides, as he does not want them to notice him. When Kim returns to the room where his father is, he keeps thinking about Lee and his older brother. While it's none of his business, he feels curious and wants to know what is happening in that family. Some time passes and the semester starts to end. Kim is focused on his tests, and every time he achieves the best results in class. He is still the first-place student in the rankings. Lee Sangam is always one spot behind him, but he has not been harassing him. Kim's friend Moonjin has been working really hard and improving his results. After the semester is over, the summer vacation can start for all the students. Kim is happy to finally have some time to rest. Lee then starts to tease him about being the best and pretends that it does not bother him. Lee and his friend then invite Kim to a play session in the local internet cafe. Kim decides that it's time to humiliate Lee in his own game and accepts the invitation to play games in the internet cafe. Lee and his friend challenge Kim and Moonjin to a round of StarCraft at the local internet cafe. Lee has been playing this game for years, and he is confident that he can win against anybody, no matter what. Moonjin, on the other hand, is very nervous. He knows that Kim and him have been only focused on schoolwork, so this is not a good matchup. What Moonjin does not know is that Kim was a veteran StarCraft player in his previous life. Kim failed the entrance exam to his university of choice several times, actually almost like 5 times. Each time he failed, he would spend months playing StarCraft and smoking all the time. Kim is certain of his skills. He knows that Lee does not stand a chance. The group enters the cafe and they get ready to play. Lee is not really interested. He is certain that he will win, so he is a bit bored. His friend comes up with an idea to team up against Moonjin right away and try to humiliate him in the game. Moonjin is really worried, but Kim just tells him to calm down. Finally, the game starts and Lee and his friend attack Moonjin right away. They are certain that they are going to win when suddenly they start to lose points. In that moment, they realize that Kim is just too good, and he beats them with no problem. They are shocked, but Lee is not ready to give up. He wants to go another round. Kim thinks that it's silly, but he loves to embarrass Lee, so they go again. Again, Kim is too good, and he destroys them inside of the game. After several more rounds, Lee decides to come up with another game. This time, it's a drinking game. The guys all go to the bar, and they get wasted. For Kim, this is the best time, as he loved to get drunk in his previous life. The night goes in an insane direction as all the guys get totally drunk. Kim actually gets so drunk that he throws up in the bathroom. Lee is proud that at least he won in this one game. The following day, Kim wakes up in Lee's apartment. Lee actually decided to help him and brought him back to his place. Lee cooks him some food and they talk. For the first time, Lee seems totally normal and nice. They talk about their lives and Lee admits his secret. He's been living alone for 5 years. His family is pretty messed up and he is not welcome in his family home since his mother ended up in the hospital. His mother has a mental illness and she often has hallucinations. She has tried to end her life multiple times. For that reason, she has been in the hospital for 3 years now. Kim realizes that this is the reason Lee was in the hospital at one time. They connect even more as they talk. Kim tells Lee that life can get better, so he should keep going. Time passes and the summer vacation ends and the guys return to school. They are able to finish up all the tests and Kim is still in the first position in school. Lee and Kim actually get a bit closer. They have their friendly competition when it comes to tests and academic achievements. As time passes, Kim feels even better about his life. His father leaves the hospital and he is super happy now in life. Kim realizes that he has truly changed the timeline forever. His mother was healthy in the original timeline and now his father will live a long and happy life. Months pass and then years go by. Kim is now in his final year before going to college. He finally passes his tests and is looking forward to medical school. He has now been living this new life for 4 years and has been going really great. Lee and Kim talk about college life and it seems there is a chance they will be students at the same university. Lee gives his specialty to Kim and it seems that even Lee has changed and wants to be friends with Kim. The time of the final exams has arrived. These exams are super important. If Kim passes them, he will be able to get to medical university and begin his career. In the original timeline, he was not able to pass these tests several times. He failed each time. Now Kim is ready for the challenge and he cannot wait to get it over with. One morning, Kim wakes up and something feels wrong. He feels horrible and his stomach hurts like hell. Kim starts to theorize about what is happening to him. He managed to cure his father and his mother is healthy, but of course now he got sick. Kim starts to form a working theory that it's not that important or serious. He cannot get sick just before the exams. His mother tells him to stay in bed, but Kim does not want to miss a single day. He goes to school and there his condition gets even worse. He can barely sit down because of the pain. His classmates notice that he is not doing good at all, and finally he is sent to talk with a school nurse. She puts him in bed and tells him that he needs to go to the hospital. Kim does not want to end up in a hospital bed 3 days before the exam, so he ignores her warnings and just rests a bit. Kim starts to think about the possible causes for this stomach condition. He realizes that the flu cannot cause something like this, and he does not think that his tea was poisoned. This must be an ulcer from all the stress he has been going through. This continues for the next 2 days. Kim barely goes to school and does not sleep at all from the pain. His mother and father are now really worried about him, and they want him to go see a doctor. Kim is against that, especially since the final exam is tomorrow. He cannot miss this exam. If he does not pass this exam or misses it, he will have to wait an entire year. No matter how painful his stomach gets, Kim has to ignore it and keep going. Kim is forced to go talk with a doctor, but he does not want to remain in the hospital. His doctor is certain that he has a stomach ulcer, and it's getting worse every moment. Kim ignores this, and he explains to the doctor that he has an exam in 1 day, and he cannot miss it. He then begs the doctor to give him some pills to control the pain. The doctor gives Kim the pills, and he leaves the hospital. Kim decides to stay out of school until the exam tomorrow. He goes back home and takes some pills and gets into bed. His mother and father are now truly worried, but he tells them to not worry. Kim feels sad for worrying his parents, but he has no choice but to endure this until the exam is over. Kim falls asleep and has a dream that he is writing the exam, and suddenly he is confronted by the older version of himself from the previous life. This version of Kim hits the younger Kim in the stomach and calls him a failure. Finally, Kim wakes up and realizes that it's only 4 in the morning. He has a lot of time until it's time to go and write the exam. He checks his vitals and thinks that he still has some time. He makes a promise to himself that if things get really bad, he will go to the hospital as soon as possible. Finally, the exam time arrives and Kim is now sitting in his chair. This exam is split into several parts, so this will take multiple hours to finish. Kim feels his stomach pain getting much worse. The teacher asks him if he wants to leave, but Kim assures her that he is totally fine. The exam begins and Kim ignores his pain and starts writing. He has taken all the pills he had, so this should minimize the pain for a while. He starts to write and realizes that the exam is a lot harder this year than the previous examples. Still, Kim is sure of his skills and he is able to answer every question. His pain is getting worse and causing him to struggle with writing. When the first phase of the exam is over, Kim decides to test his vitals and see if he has to go to the hospital right away. He checks his heartbeat and it seems that his heart is racing really fast. All of his vitals seem fine, but Kim knows he does not have much time. In the next two phases of the exam, Kim is in insane pain, but he is able to finish each part with no problem. Kim, now realizing that the exam is over, falls down and tells the other classmates to call the hospital right away. Hours later, Kim wakes up in the hospital and he realizes that he has been through an operation. His mother and father arrive and they are worried about him. His mother is in tears and she yells at Kim for not going to the hospital sooner. The doctor arrives and informs Kim that he has a dangerous stomach ulcer and he is only alive because he is young. Kim finally realizes that he has finished the exam and that he is now free of that struggle. All the pain and suffering was worth it. Unlike in the original timeline, he will pass the test without a problem. Kim remains in the hospital for a few more days to recover from his surgery. All of his friends come to visit him, even Lee. Lee is actually a lot nicer now to Kim. Lee and the others do not want to brag about their tests so that they do not upset Kim. All of them are certain that Kim will fail since he felt so horrible while writing the test. Kim is confident that the test results will be good. He tried his best. A few more days pass and Kim is finally able to return to school. Everyone there feels sorry for him as he had the best grades the entire year, but it's obvious you will fail the test. Kim pretends not to be bothered by all of this. Even at home, his father wants to know what he will do next year and what college will he choose. His father also thinks that Kim will probably fail because he is so sick. The following day, Kim goes to school and everyone is tense there. The test results are back and people are nervous. Moonjin gets his results back and he can go to whatever college he picks. He is super happy with his results. Then suddenly the teachers come for Kim and tell him that he not only passed the test, but he got the best results in the country. Kim is then interviewed by the reports who all want to know how he achieved his results. Kim is now finally on his way to the university he always wanted. Kim and his friends graduate from high school and it's finally time to go to college. Kim does not celebrate with other students but with his parents at home as he wants them to be happy. Then Kim goes to interview for the University of Korea and is able to get a position there. But he also goes to the same university. 1 year passes and we see Kim working as a tutor and loving his college life. The first 2 years of medical school is often the time when other college students party. The third year is the time when things get really serious. 1 more year goes by and Kim is now a second-year student. While the other students are still not taking college seriously, Kim is living a very different life. Kim does not want to just party with others, he wants to earn money and build himself a comfortable future. He takes tutoring jobs all over the campus and works all the time. He hopes that he will be able to buy his parents a new apartment so they can live a better life. Still others want to hang out with Kim. A student called Lee Hae-mi calls him all the time and forces him to spend time with her and the others. After Kim finishes tutoring, he is so tired and just wants to go home. Lee Hae-mi calls him on the phone and forces him to go out with her and some other students. With no other choice, Kim joins Lee Hae-mi and the others for some dinner. Lee Hae-mi is very fond of Kim and she constantly teases him. For Kim, she is just a weird girl who harasses him all the time with her requests. Kim knows that Lee Hae-mi is very popular around the university, but she is also very strange. A lot of male students confess their feelings to her, but Lee Hae-mi always tells them that she is in love with someone else. Lee Hae-mi also loves to drink and party. For Kim, this is all a lot since he is tired all the time. We are then introduced to Kangmin. He is a student who is also at the same restaurant. He also confessed his love for Lee Hae-mi, but she rejected him. For that reason, Kangmin now hates her and everyone around her. He has horrible plans for Lee Hae-mi in the future. Suddenly, Lee shows up to the dinner. Lee has changed a lot in these past 2 years and he seems more chill. Kim finds out a shocking truth. Lee and Hae-mi are related. They are brother and sister. Kim had no idea and he was really surprised. That night, all of them get drunk and Kim ends up sleeping in Lee's apartment. Lee is very odd these days. He acts strange. Kim learns from Lee that his dog died recently, but he is not bothered by it. Kim is much more friendly with Lee, but it's not certain if Lee does not have some other sinister plans for Kim. Kim is called to have a meeting with Professor Choi. Choi wants to be Kim's mentor, but he is not that interested. Kim does not want to sacrifice his life like in the original timeline. He wants to become a dermatologist and be rich and comfortable. Professor Choi comes up with an idea that over the summer break, Kim works at a company called Mind Bio. Kim accepts this offer without thinking cause he knows what Mind Bio will become. In the original timeline, Mind Bio becomes a billion-dollar company that is famous all over the world. It would be stupid for Kim to ignore that offer and not work there. When he arrives there to work, the people in charge are surprised that Choi sent an inexperienced student. They all think that Kim has no idea how to work in the medical field since he is just a second-year student. Kim surprises them right away. The bosses tell Kim to work on an anemia testing machine. It's a device that will recognize if a person has anemia. Kim thinks that this is a horrible idea as the device is not necessary. He explains that they can just test the blood of a person and test their ferritin levels. When Kim says this, the boss is shocked. He cannot believe that someone came up with that idea. He then calls a very famous doctor to confront Kim about his idea about anemia testing. This doctor thinks that Kim is trying to ruin his plans. Kim goes on to explain that every doctor tests for anemia with simple blood tests and that using a device will just be expensive and time-consuming. Kim is also certain that this device will not sell well and the company will lose a lot of money. The doctor, the boss on the project, and Kim get into a discussion about the device, and it leads to both the boss and the doctor being shocked. They cannot believe that Kim is this smart. In that moment, the boss of the company realizes why Choi sent Kim to work there. He is actually a genius. They decide to stop the project, but Kim is interested in their other projects. There is a device for inflammation that the company is developing, and Kim wants to help them. In that moment, Kim realizes that he has a golden opportunity to earn some crazy money. Kim tells the bosses that he will help with the project, but he just wants to have stocks in the company. The boss agrees and offers Kim a contract for 15 million won of stocks. This is not a lot, but Kim has a plan. The value of the company is low at the moment, but in the next 10 years, it will be insane. Those 15 million won will turn into 400 won in a few years. Some months pass, and Kim continues to work for Mind Bio. He is working hard on the inflammation device, and it's taking up a lot of his time. Still, he loves doing it and hopes to finish it on time. When the boss arrives, he wants to talk with Kim about his future work in the company. Kim explains that now, since his third year is starting, he will no longer be able to work on these projects. While Kim is confident that he can get good grades, he does not have time to be working on difficult projects like this while also studying. Kim promises to finish up the project before his more intense classes start. He really wants to help the company grow. In the meantime, the other students are getting ready for their first class of the third year. The first class is for some of the most difficult and the most important. That class is called the osteology class, and for all medical students, missing it is a surefire way of failing that year. Kim knows that he will have to miss it since he is working on the project still. Lee Hemi is very upset that Kim is not showing up for this class. She tries to call him, but he explains that he has a lot of work to do. Lee Hemi is very obviously in love with Kim and wants to spend time with him, but she of course does not want to admit it. Because Kim missed the osteology class, she makes a promise to tutor him so that he can get good grades and not fail. In the meantime, Kim is invited to talk with the boss of Mind Bio once more. This time he is offered a job when he finishes his college years. Kim has to think about it, but it's a great offer. He knows that in a few years, Mind Bio will become the biggest company in the country, so having a job there would be amazing for his plans. Kim thinks for a moment, but then he rejects the offer. While it would be great to work in this type of company, Kim is not really interested in this work. The boss tells him to contact him if he changes his mind. The doors to Mind Bio will always be open to Kim after he finishes college. Kim then leaves after finally ending the project, and now he goes to see his bank account. From all the tutoring, he has earned quite a bit of money, and now with the stocks, he is in a good position. Still, Kim decides to put all the money he earned with tutoring into stocks for another company. This company will also blow up in the future, and Kim thinks that his stocks could generate 1 billion won, which is an insane amount. Just before the third year fully begins, Kim takes his parents out for dinner. They do not like when Kim spends a lot of money on them, but they are happy to hang out with their son. Finally, Kim goes to his dorm and starts his year, the third and most challenging year. He goes to class, and there Lee Hami rages out on him. She is angry that he has missed so many important classes and that he has ignored her calls. She just wanted to give him notes so that he can study. Finally, class begins, and all the students are lost right away. The teacher talks super fast, and there is so much information. Everyone starts to panic, but Kim remains calm. He knows how this year will go, so he just has to remain focused and determined. Kim does notice that Lee Hami does not seem to be worried or confused like the other students. Then Kim remembers that in the original timeline, she became a famous doctor, so it's clear she is a genius. After class is over, it's time for the practical part. All the students put on their medical coats and enter the merge. For the first time, they will be cutting into a dead body. For everyone, this is horrible, but Kim is calm. He does not want to be a surgeon in his future, but he knows how to do it. Kim takes the scalpel and makes the first cut. Kangmin is on the same group as Kim, and he is kind of obsessed with Kim. Kangmin thinks that Kim does not deserve to be at this college, and he wants to prove how better he is than Kim. Kangmin takes over the scalpel and starts to cut. He is so inexperienced and clumsy that he starts to ruin the body since he does not know how to cut. Kim notices this and tries to stop him. Soon enough, the teacher arrives and loses his mind over what Kangmin did. He ruined the arm of the body. The teacher tells Kangmin that he and his entire group will get horrible grades if this is not fixed. Kim then joins in and slowly fixes up the body with his skills. The teacher is impressed and so are the other students. Some students even asked Kim to help them with their bodies. After class is over, Kim is tired and just wants to go home. Weeks pass by and now it's time for one of the first tests in this semester. All the students are afraid that they might fail. Kim, on the other hand, is confident and calm. Kangmin is still harassing him as he wants to get better grades on the test. Kangmin is certain that Kim will fail this test. We then see Lee Hemi as she openly flirts with Kim. After the tests are over, she wants to hang out with Kim alone. Kim is confused as he still does not get that Lee Hemi likes him. Finally, the test arrives and Kim is able to write all the answers without a problem. While writing the test, Kangmin watches Kim and hopes he will fail. A few days later, the results came back and Kangmin saw that he was in second place. He was happy with that, but he just wanted to know what Kim had achieved. Kangmin at first thinks that Lee is in first place, but he tells him he is in third place. Kangmin is so curious, he goes to the administrative office to find out the results. Kangmin loses his mind when he finds out that Kim once again is at the top spot. He is just that good. Kangmin thinks that Kim is just a poor commoner who does not even deserve to be in this university. Now Kangmin makes it his mission to destroy Kim and his grades. First off, he starts by meeting with one of the older students who fills in for the professors. Kangmin has a very rich father who is influential in the medical community. Kangmin wants test results beforehand so that he can practice and get the best grade. He also does not want Kim to get any help. If a student helps him, Kangmin will talk with his father to set up an interview after his college degree is finished. After that, Kangmin goes to meet with another student who works at the administration office. This student gives other students their study guides and books that help with the learning process and help students get ready for the exams. Kangmin promises a lot of crazy things to this student if he does not get Kim his study guide. After Kangmin is done, he spots Kim hanging out with Lee Hemi. It's obvious that Lee likes Kim and this angers Kangmin even more. When Kim returns home, he has a very upsetting dream. In his dream, he experiences his divorce once more. In his original life, Kim was married, but his marriage fell apart. His wife left him as he did not spend any time with her. He was always busy with medical work and did not have anything to offer. When Kim wakes up, this dream really upsets him. He does not want to have the same life once more. He wants to work an easy job that pays a lot, and he wants to travel with his wife. Moments after, Kim tries to call to see if the new student guides are out, but the administrator's office tells him that there are no new guides. Kim thinks that this is odd, and he notices that the student who is talking to him seems upset and worried. The day of the exam arrives, and Kangmin is so happy with himself. He studied hard and already had the questions from that other student. He also is certain that Kim did not have any help and that there is no way he can pass this test. Kim, on the other hand, seems relaxed. While the questions of the exam are hard, he is able to answer most of them. Kim would have liked to have the study guide, but still these are tests he passed several times in his previous life, so it's no problem at all for him. After a few days, the results of the tests come back and Kangmin is excited to learn about his placement. When reading the results, he is shocked to find that his results are below average. He just barely passed the test. Kangmin cannot believe this, and he once more goes to the administrator's office to find out who came in first place. When Kangmin finds out that Kim is once again at the first place, his mind breaks. He starts to scream at the administrators, and he demands that they change the results. When he is finally kicked out, he runs into Kim and Lee Hemi. The moment he sees them having fun, he goes to confront Kim. Kangmin accuses Kim of cheating on the test. Kim then reveals the truth. The students that Kangmin bribed contacted Kim and explained the situation. Kim knew that Kangmin tried to sabotage him. He even found out that Kangmin wanted a teacher to lower Kim's grade. In that moment, Lee Hemi joins in. She is furious at Kangmin and decides the best decision is to report him for his actions. Kangmin is furious and he grabs Lee Hemi by the hair. He is really violent. In that moment, Kim loses his cool and he hits Kangmin with his fist. Kim starts to get Kangmin over and over again until he finally stops. Lee Hemi thanks him and promises that Kangmin will be in a world of trouble. After that, Kangmin's life turned upside down. He was punished because of trying to cheat on tests and harassing other students. Everyone turned on him and started to make fun of him non-stop. Some time passed and Kim continued with his regular studies. He then got a call to talk with the dean of the school. The dean of the school is Joo-hyun, Kangmin's father. When Kim enters the room, he sees Kangmin standing there and his father, Joo-hyun. Joo-hyun right away says sorry to Kim for what his son did. Then he forces Kangmin to also apologize. When Kangmin tries to get out of this situation, his father hits him as hard as possible. Kim then explains that he does not want Kangjim to be punished too much and Joo-hyun promises to handle it. After Kim leaves, Kangmin's father tells him that he will take a leave of absence for 1 year at the university. Kangjim is in tears since he knows how horrible this will be for his future as a doctor. A few days pass and Kim is tired from all the studying. When he returns home, he has another dream about his wife from his previous life. Kim feels guilty and he does not understand why he keeps dreaming of her. He wants to do better in his current life. Then he remembers that he has a date with Lee Hae-mi. Kim is nervous for the first time and gets ready as best as he can. Finally, Lee Hae-mi comes to pick up Kim and they go have some dinner. Soon Kim realizes that Lee Hae-mi is a horrible driver and he starts to worry that this might be his last car ride. Lee Hae-mi and Kim go on their date. Kim tries to fight the idea that this is a real date, but he likes spending time with Lee Hae-mi, even if she drives like a crazy person. They go have some coffee, and then they go to have lunch together. Kim has a really great time having fun with Lee Hae-mi. Finally, Lee Hae-mi decides that they have to travel to a new location. This one is really special to her. They travel to the mountains where there are a lot of tourists. They climb for quite some time until they reach the peak. The view is truly beautiful, and Kim in that moment realizes how truly wonderful Lee Hae-mi really is. She smiles at him and thanks him for coming to this place with him. Lee Hae-mi explains that she basically does not have any family and that she has always wanted to visit this place with someone special. We then learn that Lee Hae-mi has 2 other brothers. One of them is Lee that we know. Her mother had them and then she was later placed in an insane asylum. Her father never cared for her nor wanted her to be in the family. Kim in that moment realizes that Lee Hae-mi had a horrible childhood and she experienced a lot of trauma, but she is so strong no matter what. The 2 of them decide to have a drink in a nearby cafe. Kim goes to order the drink when suddenly he spots someone familiar, his wife from the previous timeline, just a younger version. Kim is not sure that it's her, but he is frozen in fear. Kim does not know how to process this information and he ends the date early. He's been under a lot of stress and has been dreaming about his wife for a few weeks now. Seeing her upsets him even more. Still, Kim is not sure that it's even her. Maybe it's just a woman that looks similar. Kim tries to ignore his feelings and plans to just focus on his studies and nothing else. A few days pass and we see Lee getting invited by his father. Lee hates his father and does not have any relationship with him. His father is a cruel and rich man that does not want his kids and thinks that Lee and his sister have dirty blood and are not worthy of the family name. When Lee arrives, he is sarcastic and rude to his father, Jongin. We learn that Jongin is one of the richest men in town and he has a lot of influence all around. Jongin tells Lee that he has been visiting his mother's grave too much, and if the press learn about this, it's going to be a media frenzy. Jongin thinks that Lee's mother was a sick woman who had no worth, so he tells Lee to let it go and to stop going to her grave. This makes Lee furious, but he jokes about it. He does not want to give his father any room to make fun of him. Jongin then tells Lee to leave as he is not worth talking to. Still, as a farewell, he tells Lee that he is always in second place in school and that it's embarrassing. When Lee leaves, his half-brother tells him that he is filthy and horrible. All of this awakens trauma in Lee and he starts to lose his mind. He feels pathetic and lost in his life. We then see him attack his own dog when he is alone. Lee is obviously suffering, but he is taking out his pain on his poor dog. In the meantime, Kim is feeling nervous about possibly meeting his wife in that cafe shop. He cannot stop thinking about it and he is very distracted during class. Everyone notices that he is constantly serious and his mind is somewhere else. Kim just cannot stop thinking about that meeting, and finally he leaves class. He then travels to that cock shop in the hopes of finding out if that woman was really his wife from the previous timeline. When he arrives there, she is not in working and he finds out that she was just helping out for that day. Kim is confused as he sits outside. He does not know what he is feeling. Finally, he feels relief as he does not want to repeat the same mistakes from his previous life, so it's better that he does not meet her again. Kim then goes back to college and he focuses on his studies. Another 2 years pass and the students start to work more in the medical field. Many things change, but Kim still remains a top student and Lee is constantly in the second position behind him. As a third-year student, Kim has started to work in the field more. In these final parts of the third year, the medical students work at various hospitals trying to train their skills. Kim is very nervous about all of this. He has a lot of studying to do and also he has to be great at the practical work. When he arrives for his workday, he is met by Lee Hae-mi, who is also doing her practical studying. Lee Hae-mi still loves to hang around Kim even if he does not notice her massive crush. They are soon introduced to Bum-soo, the main doctor and also Lee Hae-mi's brother. Bum-soo seems nice and he explains to the students what they will be doing today. Kim remembers Bumsu as being the older brother that hit Lee in the hospital all those years ago. Now Bumsu seems nice and calm. Bumsu tells the medical students that they have to be careful cause they can cause a patient to die or get harmed. The main responsibility of the doctor is to, of course, cure the patient, but they first have to learn how to not kill the patient in the process. Bumsu then leaves the students as they have to work with some other doctors in the hospital. These doctors are not as friendly as Dr. Bumsu, they are the opposite. One of the doctors is so angry at the medical students that he ignores them for almost half an hour. Then he notices Lee Hamey and starts to harass her. He tells her that she does not need to study, but she just needs to get some cough with him. Lee Hamey gets furious, but before she can speak, Kim gets involved. Kim tells the doctor that he is being a creep and he should stop. The two almost get into a fight, but soon Professor Choi arrives to calm the situation. It seems that Professor Choi will be helping the students and leading them through the hospital. Choi notices Kim right away and they catch up on old times. The creepy doctor realizes that he is in trouble since Choi likes Kim. Professor Choi prepares the students for their first patients. Usually the doctors learn everything they can before meeting with a patient, but this time it's different. The students must learn, so Choi will test their knowledge. The first patient they meet has problems with her stomach and doctors have been giving her a therapy, but she is not getting better. Choi right away gets mad since he does not think the therapy is right and he demands to know the answers, but the students are stuck. None of them have the answers except Kim, of course. Kim wanted to keep a low profile and not show his knowledge in front of Professor Choi, but he has no choice. Kim goes on to explain what is wrong with the therapy and he thinks that the pills are causing more symptoms. He then goes on to explain in detail how he would treat the patient. Professor Choi is very impressed and he wants to see how smart Kim really is. They continue their tour all around the hospital and basically the same thing happens. Professor Choi asks the students some questions and they have no idea. Kim then has to get involved and give the answer. Professor Choi wanted this as he wanted to test Kim in various situations. Kim proves himself to be smart and beyond capable. Finally, they reach a patient that has stomach cancer. The doctors were able to locate the cancer early, so the patient should be getting better. Still, there is a problem. There are strange bumps on the patient's lymph nodes. This time, Professor Choi really wants to know what Kim thinks about this situation. Kim goes on to explain that maybe the patient has lymph node cancer, and they have not located this so far. Professor Choi is curious by that choice, and he wants to know how Kim would continue to treat the patient. Kim thinks that they need to start a simplified operation and check 10 lymph nodes. Hopefully, they can locate and isolate the cancer early before it spreads to other parts of the body. Professor Choi is truly impressed and he praises Kim. This is the worst case scenario for Kim since now he is the star of the day and Choi wants him to be his personal student. Choi comes up with a plan. He will be Kim's mentor and Kim will specialize in internal medicine. Kim does not want this and he wanted to avoid this scenario by any means necessary. Kim decides to think about it and Lee Hamey goes to talk with him. Hemi thinks that this is a great situation and Kim should accept the offer that Professor Choi proposed. Kim then finally reveals his plan to her. He wants to become a dermatologist. Lee Hamey is shocked. She cannot believe that someone as smart as Kim would enter that simple field of medicine. She wants him to explain, but Kim just tells her that this is his wish. After their argument, Hemi thanks Kim for helping her with that creepy doctor. Kim then pets her on the head and tells her that she is awesome. In that moment, Hemi blushes and she rushes out of the room. Kim is certain that she got angry at him again. Kim might be a genius at medicine, but he is clueless when it comes to women. The following day, Kim and Lee Hamey are back doing their residency at the hospital. Kim tells Lee Hamey that he is sorry for touching her head yesterday. Lee Hamey blushes and then starts to yell at Kim and tells him that he is totally clueless. Soon after that, Kim and Hamey both get their tasks for the day. This practical work in the hospital is half of their grade, so it's very important that they perform well. Hamey gets a patient with some problems, but it does not seem too difficult. The creepy doctor decides to punish Kim and gives him a patient in critical condition. Kim goes to check on the patient. It's a man who had cancer and he has some sort of inflammation. Kim starts to check the patient and notices that he is bloated all over his body. Kim realizes that something is wrong and the doctors are not treating this patient in the correct way. The creepy doctor arrives and he creates an even bigger problem when he decides to give the patient a certain therapy pill. Kim tries to stop him, but it does not work. The patient has a heart attack and Kim has to save him as fast as possible. After the whole leave-in, Kim is just sitting down and he is tired. He not only caused problems, he also got a lot of attention on himself. The following day, Professor Choi calls in Kim for a meeting about the incident with that patient he saved. The creepy supervisor is also there and it seems that Choi is very angry. Choi wants to know what happened yesterday and Kim tells him. Kim actually protects the supervisor and tells Choi that they both tried to save the patient as fast as possible and the supervisor did nothing wrong. Choi smiles and congratulates the supervisor for his skills. Kim in that moment realizes that Choi already knew Kim saved that patient and not the supervisor. It seems that this was another test from Professor Choi. After the meeting is over, the supervisor thanks Kim for saving him and apologizes for being so rude. Kim tells him that it's okay, but he first has to apologize to Hammy as soon as possible. The supervisor accepts this, but he asks Kim how he is so smart in medical situations. Kim explains that he just reads books and nothing more. Hours after we see Dr. Bumsu in his office, he is freaking out and he is angry. It seems that Bumsu is under a lot of stress. Lee then enters his office and starts to make fun of Bumsu. Bumsu seems to hate his younger brother and calls him a monster with filthy blood. Lee then asks Bumsu what happens if someone gets under a lot of stress and how it can lead to a heart attack. Bumsu answers it and tells him to leave. We then see Lee smiling while he leaves. It seems that he has some sinister plan for Bumsu. Lee Simon spends less and less time with Kim and the other students. He seems to be planning something, but nobody knows what. Kim is studying hard, and finally he decides it's time for a quick break. Kim goes to meet up with Moonjin and another friend from high school. Lee Simon should have been with them, but he did not respond to the invitation. Kim has not seen his high school friends in a few years, so this is great for him. They laugh while drinking sake and talking. Kim tells them that he plans to become a dermatologist. Moonjin is shocked by this. He does not understand why someone like Kim would enter in such an easy and boring medical field. Moonjin really wants to specialize in internal medicine and become a surgeon. The other friend totally failed med school, and he plans to become a police officer. After their reunion is over, Kim goes to sleep over at his parents' house. His mom is angry at him for drinking so much. When Kim lies in his bed, he starts to think about his parents and their living condition. He wants to buy them a new house as soon as possible, so he has to make sure those stocks are worth a lot of money. In the meantime, MindBio is in trouble. The entire company is losing money fast, and the boss is working on a newest project to lift them up from this crisis. Soon he hears news that the project will be shut down and they will lose a lot of money. The boss tries to beg the investors for some more time. He thinks that there is a chance of Kim saving the company. Kim continues his work and studies. He is tired all the time, but he has to push forward. Suddenly, he gets a phone call from the boss of MindBio. The boss tells Kim that the company will go bankrupt if he does not help them with the newest project. In that moment, Kim realizes that he will lose all the money he invested in the company. Even if he does not have enough time, Kim has to get involved to save the entire company from falling apart. Kim goes to meet with the bosses of MindBio and the investor from a firm called Haynes. This investor is the vice president of the company, and they bring all the funding to MindBio. The vice president is certain that Kim has no idea what he is doing, and she does not want to give more money to MindBio. When Kim sits down, he looks over the papers, and right away he notes that this project will never work since the formula is wrong. It will always cause side effects in patients, so it's useless. This breaks the boss of MindBio. Kim then comes up with a new idea. He can change the project into a medicine for stomach problems. He knows the new formula and how to get the project up and running. The vice president of Haynes is not sure, but Kim tells her that he will only give her the ideas if she pays MindBio $300 million in funding. If she does not, Kim will take his ideas to another company. With no choice, the vice president accepts the offer, and Kim proves in just a few minutes that his project is great and can be successful. A few weeks pass by, and MindBio has a surge in their stock prices because of Kim and the project he delivered to them. Kim is now focused on his surgery training, the worst part of medical school. He is tired all the time, but still he keeps moving forward. Kim then decides to buy a new apartment for his parents with the money he earned from the MindBio project. At first, his parents do not want to accept the money, but Kim is able to convince them. The following few days, they search for a new place until they find a perfect apartment. Kim is super happy to see his parents satisfied in a new home. Another year passes by, and Kim is studying as hard as possible. His surgery training is now a main part of the study. He has to focus on the theory exams while performing doctor duties like surgeries or patient care. It's a lot, but Kim is determined to push through. As Kim keeps working hard, he gets the flu. He does not want to stay at home, so he does not miss any classes, but he is tired all the time and he can barely stand up. Kim just wants to sleep all day, but he has no choice but to keep going. One day, Kim decides to go and buy some flu medication and get some teas. There he meets Dr. Bumsu, who wants to drink with him and talk. Bumsu asks Kim about Hammy and how he feels about her. Kim explains that Lee Hammy is a good friend and he likes her. Bumsu then tells Kim to take care of her in the future. Kim is too sick to think about any of this, and he just wants to rest. Too bad for Kim, but he gets a new test that he has to perform. Kim has to stay overnight in the hospital and work in urgent care. If a surgery happens, he has to be there, and he has to perform. Kim hates this. He is tired and spending the entire night alone in the hospital is the worst. Suddenly, Kim is called into the operating room. He has to be part of an emergency surgery. For Kim, this is the worst because it reminds him of his old life. He did surgeries all the time and he hated it. When he enters the operating room, the other doctors start to accuse him of being a pro who is faking not knowing anything. Kim realizes that he has to fake being horrible at surgeries so that they never force him to do this again. Kim is now in the operating room and the other doctor is starting the operation on the patient. The operation should be pretty simple and the doctor wants to test Kim to see how much he knows. While Kim tries to pretend he has no experience, he cannot help himself. Every answer he gives is a correct one. He knows how to wash your hands before an operation, he knows what everyone needs to do during a procedure, and he knows all the most complex cuts. Still, the operation does not go smoothly. Suddenly, the doctor notices that the patient is bleeding a lot. He tries to stop the bleeding or find the cut, but there is too much blood. The doctor cannot see anything. Kim starts to get nervous. He realizes that this is a problem, and he has to handle it. The doctor tries to clear the blood, but nothing works. It's obvious that the doctor is in panic mode, but then Kim gives him some advice on how to continue. This advice is pretty useful, and then Kim gets involved and is able to stop the bleeding. After the operation is over, the doctor praises Kim and sends him home early to rest. Before Kim leaves, the doctor asks him about his future career. When Kim reveals his wish to go into dermatology, the doctor has the same reaction as all the others. How could someone as smart as Kim go in that dumb direction? After resting home, Kim gets an upsetting phone call from Lee Hami. It seems that her brother Bumsu has died. Kim is shocked and he goes to help Hami with the funeral. Kim learns that Dr. Bumsu died by suicide, but in a strange way. It seems that he put a needle in his arm and pushed his system so far he got a heart attack. Kim is sad and he offers Hami all the help she needs. We see that Lee Sang-min is also at the funeral and he gets into an argument with his father. While everyone thinks Bumsu committed suicide, it's clear that Lee Sang-min was involved in some way. Kim remembers that Dr. Bumsu made him promise to take care of Hami, so Kim does just that. Half a year goes by and Kim is working hard to finish his program. Hami is doing much better and she is more happy. Kim is always by her side, helping her with whatever she needs. It's obvious that they have grown closer. Kim is now focusing on the field he wanted the entire time, dermatology. He goes to meet the other students from this particular field and he loves it. Unlike internal medicine and surgeons, these doctors are a lot more chill and relaxed. Kim loves this and he hopes to really shine in this field. Then the bad news hit. Kangmin's father is the head of dermatology. Kangmin was that kid who tried to set up Kim as a cheater and have him fail. While Kangmin's father seems nice, he is also angry at Kim for ruining his son's reputation. Kim realizes that there is no chance he can make it in dermatology since Kangmin's father will ruin him. Kim is now really sad since he feels he wasted all of this time working to be the best in this field. He really wanted that future job. Now he is back at zero and does not know what is his next step. In the meantime, Lee Sang-min meets with his horrible father. The father orders Lee Sang-min to enter the Dial Hospital and become a surgeon there. Lee Sang-min tries to talk back to his father, but he throws a glass in his head. Kim is feeling pretty lost because of the new developments and he does not know what his next step is. Suddenly, he is called by the vice president of Haynes, the woman whom he worked with on that project. They meet for lunch and she offers him a job. It's a job at Haynes and it pays a lot. Kim has to think about it, but part of him really wants that job. He knows that his future as a doctor of internal medicine will be horrible, and he just wants a peaceful life. While walking back from that meeting, Kim gets another phone call. This time it's from the Dial Hospital. They also want to offer him a job. He will have to study there and then work for them. Kim in that moment realizes that maybe this is his chance to achieve his dream of dermatology. He can be far away from the University of Korea and finish up his studies at Dial Hospital. Kim accepts the offer right away and he wants to meet with the administration. Kim goes to have an interview with a member of Dial Hospital. It seems that the hospital has chosen Kim for a great job opportunity. Kim finds this a bit strange, but the administrator explains that since he is one of the best students ever, they just had to get him as a highly paid intern. Without thinking much about it, Kim accepts this offer and he is super happy to finally be on track to achieve his dream. Days later, we see Kim having drinks with Lee Sang-min. They have not hung out for a while and Lee wanted to celebrate their end of studies. While talking, it's very clear that Lee has some sinister intentions. When Kim gets too drunk, Lee almost puts his hands on Kim's neck but stops himself. Kim really should get better friends cause Lee is a snake in the grass. After some time, Kim finally finishes college. He is done and now he can move up to becoming an intern and then a doctor. Soon after finishing his university, Kim starts work with other interns in a hospital. Haimei is also there and some of his friends, including Lee. This is one of the most famous hospitals in the region, so the best interns always work there. Moonjin is also there and right away he develops a crush on Hemi since she is perfect. When Moojin tries to flirt with Haimi, Kim gets jealous for the first time, showing that maybe he does have some feelings for her. All of them begin working as interns, and it is hell on earth. It's difficult, and they have no spare time. Kim impresses the nurses and doctors with his great work. All the work of an intern is pure hell. Kim can do it. Kim as an intern has to do all the horrible work from taking blood to urine samples. Still, he keeps going no matter how hard it gets. Kim as well as Hemi get really tired as time goes on. They are working all the time, and the high-level doctors are just giving them endless tasks. After work, Hemi goes to talk with one of her friends, and she does admit to having a massive crush on Kim. This is something that everyone besides Kim has noticed. Kim continues his intern work and tries his best. Professor Choi arrives because he wants to know how good Kim is doing. Kim proves himself once again, but soon a very difficult patient arrives. Kim finds a patient who had stomach cancer or was cured. Still, this patient remains in critical condition, but the doctors do not know what is making him sick. Kim teams up with another doctor there who thinks Kim is too young for this sort of case. Kim soon realizes that something dark and bloody is in the urine of the patient. Kim tries to find the cure as he realizes that the doctors have missed something in the patient. Kim goes to the library to try and find the causes behind the red urine. After hours of research, he is finally able to find it. Kim goes to talk with the resident doctor and tries to explain the situation. The doctor ignores his warnings as he thinks he knows best, and Kim is just low level. Kim takes blood and finds the sickness. He ignores the doctor and his theory and does his own thing. After a few hours, the tests from the blood return. The doctor is angry at Kim and tries to shame him for not following orders. In that moment, the test reveals that what Kim said was very true and the patient has a very particular sickness. Soon after Professor Choi arrives, the doctor tries to take credit for this, but Choi knows it was not his plan. Once again, Kim has proven himself as a master doctor and Professor Choi is impressed. At the same time, the evil chairman, who is the father of Hami and Lee, finds out about Kim and wants to stop his rise in popularity. Yeon-hee, Kim's wife from a previous life, appears in hospital. It seems that she is now working there. Hami invites Kim for some food and drinks. He is happy to take her up on that offer, but as soon as he spots Yeon-hee, he starts to lose his mind. Kim starts to run around the hospital trying to find her. Soon he realizes that he cannot find her, so he gives up on that search. Some time goes by, and Kim finally finishes his internal medicine training. He is now moving up to the surgeon department. Kim is not excited about that at all, but still, he has to power through it. While working his first shift in the new position, he runs into Yeon-hee. It seems she is also working at this department as a nurse. Kim falls to the ground the moment he spots her. He does not know how to act around her. Kim can't stop thinking about his past with his wife. He is now working with this woman he knows as Yeon-hee, but it's not his wife. It's a totally different timeline. Still, Kim cannot stop looking at her. In the worst moments, he starts to remember their lives together and how much she suffered because of him. Yeon-hee seems to be very nice, and she notices Kim right away, but does not know what his deal is quite just yet. While working their shift, Kim helps Yeon-hee, and they start to connect little by little. Soon after that, a new patient arrives. His old wife is injured, and it seems that she has a very infected wound. Kim decides to intervene since the other doctors are moving too slowly. Kang Mikkel is an operating instructor, and he is one of the most feared people in the hospital. Many interns who work with him quit after a while since he is so scary. Kim continues to prove himself in the medical field. New patients arrive all the time, and Kim is able to help them with no problem. In the meantime, the evil chairman wants Kim to be broken, and he hopes it will happen soon. He is even transporting Kim to the worst parts of the hospital, where Kang Mikkel is working. Kang Mikkel is a horrible surgeon. He is mean to the other interns during the operations, and many fear him. The evil chairman thinks that Kang will for sure break Kim and make him run away from the surgeon department. Kim continues his training, and soon he joins Kang during one of his operations. Kim is also joined by the other interns, and they are all fearful of Kang. Dr. Kang forces the interns to handle the operation themselves, and every time they mess up, he screams at them. He starts to scream at one and then the second intern. Finally, it comes time for Kim to step up, and he is brilliant as always. Every surgical move he makes is perfect, and Kang is actually impressed. Kang and Kim are able to perform the surgery with no problems at all. When the operation is over, Kang wants him to be his assistant from now on. Kim did not expect this to happen, and it's his worst nightmare. As time goes on, it's more obvious that Lee Sang-min is jealous of Kim. While he covers up his emotions with his cold presentation, he is actually furious at Kim in this entire situation. Kim does not want to be an assistant to Surgeon Kang. This is the last thing he wants. Kang kinda likes Kim and thinks he has a bright future in the surgery medical field. They start working together on a few difficult operations. Every time the interns start to panic since Kang insults them and makes them scared. Finally, the day of a pretty hard liver operation arrives. Both Kim and Lee Sang-min are invited to be part of this operation. During the operation, Dr. Kang starts to argue with the other interns. He is furious, actually more than usual. Suddenly, Kim notices that something is wrong with the doctor. Kang then reveals that he has a problem with his heart and it's acting up. Kang tries to finish the operation, but he starts to suffer even more until he falls to the ground. Kang is taken away as he suffered a critical heart attack. The liver operation has to be completed. Kim tries to tell the nurse to bring a specialist or a doctor who can perform this surgery. It is then revealed that at this moment there is no other doctor that can perform this surgery. Kim realizes that the liver has 1 hour before it starts to be ruined. Basically, if he does not get involved, the patient and the liver will be lost. Kim decides to take the lead and perform the surgery. Lee then actually gets mad but does not show it. Lee is furious that Kim can perform these crazy miracles and always be the best. Kim asks Lee to help him in the operation and Lee accepts. Together, the two interns are able to finish the operation. Kim once more proves that he is a true medical genius. They finish the operation and they are able to transplant the liver without issues. Still, Kim wants to keep it a secret. He does not want others to know about it. Lee promises to keep his secret, but there is a sinister energy coming from Lee. It seems he is getting more and more angry at Kim. As time passes, Kim spends more time with Haemi and she loves it. She obviously has feelings for him, so spending time with Kim is a pure joy for her. Soon the boss from Mind Bio arrives and she tells everyone how amazing Kim is. This ruined any chance that Kim had to stay unknown in the hospital. Kim becomes popular as he works hard every day. Basically, all the patients love him and the other doctors realize how talented he is. They constantly call him to help them with their patients, so Kim does not have any time for himself. Haemi really wants to hang out with Kim and take him out on a date, but Kim is too busy at the moment. Kim continues to work hard when one night a critical patient arrives. This patient seems to be really drunk and for some reason he is barely alive. When Kim checks his condition, he realizes that the man has liver cancer and it's in the final stages. Kim treats the patient, but his condition is really bad. Kim realizes that there is not much he can do. Still, Kim wants to try and help the patient any way he can. When the patient wakes up, Kim learns more about his life. The man knows he will die soon. He just wants to see his son one last time. Kim tries to arrange this, and he also tries to save the man. The man gets worse every hour, and soon they find out that he cannot pay his medical bills. Kim is furious at this, since he wants to save the man or at least make him comfortable in his last moments. The hospital actually plans to kick the man out since he cannot pay his bills. In that moment, Kim steps up and decides to pay the bills for the man so that he can stay in the hospital. The evil chairman is determined to ruin Kim so that his son Lee can rise to the top. While he's a horrible father and he basically hates his son, he does want him to be the best so that he does not bring shame to the family name. Kim is really worried about the patient with liver cancer and wants to help him. The other older doctor tells Kim that there is nothing to be done. The following day, that same patient dies. Haemi gets emotional as this is the first person she lost during her time at the hospital. Kim, on the other hand, is cold. He has experienced this many times in his previous life. The chairman gathers his board members and tries to find any reason to fire Kim. This does not work since Kim has been perfect so far, and not only does he not make mistakes, but he saves lives. Kim really wanted to remain under the radar and not famous at all, but the opposite keeps happening. Because of his actions, he is put in online articles where reporters are praising him. Also, the evil chairman's plan is ruined since the other doctors support Kim and think he is great. They do not want to ruin his career for any reason. Kim continues to work, but he makes plans with Haemi to have a dinner date. He makes a mistake cause at the same time he made plans with the woman who became his wife in the original timeline. While Kim does not have feelings for this woman, he wants to meet up with her. Haemi gets all ready, but Kim cancels their date as he tells her he has some other business. Haemi gets teary and leaves sad. Kim feels bad, but still he meets up with that woman hoping to find some connection. Kim goes on a lunch date with his wife from the previous life. While the whole situation is pretty odd for Kim, he still enjoys himself. By accident, Haemi ends up in that same restaurant. She spots Kim with the other woman and right away she starts to tear up. This is a horrible situation. Haemi does not want to bother Kim, but she has to leave as fast as possible. She actually runs into Kim, but she just runs away from him. In the following days, Haemi pretends everything is okay. She does not mention anything and she's just acting as usual. Still, Kim realizes that he made a mistake and he feels pretty bad. In the meantime, Lee is having trouble with his evil father. The chairman is hitting him with bottles and belts. He demands that Lee gets better and finally defeats Kim. Dr. Kang recovers from a heart attack, but he still has to remain in bed. In the meantime, Professor Choi is still angry at Kim for wanting to be a dermatologist. Kim really has to fight against Choi so that he is left alone to pursue the career he wants. Kim tries to focus on his work when Lee arrives. Lee's acting very odd, even more than usual. Finally, Lee talks with Kim and offers him 10 billion won to quit being a doctor. Kim is shocked by this. Kim gets really angry at Lee for coming up with such a dumb idea. While yes, money is important for Kim, just selling out like this is horrible. Kim storms off while Lee is left alone. Haemi overhears and tells Lee to not bother Kim and also tells him that she knows he killed Bumsu. While Haemi does not have the evidence she needs, she knows what Lee did. In that moment, we see Lee at his true nature. His eyes become sinister as he slams his sister into the wall. He then almost stabs her with a pen in the neck. Lee actually does cut her flesh as he tells her horrible things. Lee is a crazed person and he is truly deranged. Haemi then bites him and manages to get herself free. Lee does not want to finish her off as he thinks she is too pathetic. Haemi is left alone and sad. Haemi feels isolated since she cannot connect with Kim and her family is a total mess. She feels like she does not belong anywhere. Kim continues his work and soon ends up working in a new location. He actually has to travel. Haemi joins him on this trip, but they are not alone. Yeonhee joins Haemi and Kim on their flight. It seems that a love triangle has formed. Haemi is very awkward around Yeonhee as she feels jealous and insecure. They'd all go on a plane as they travel to meet with a new patient. Haemi feels hurt, so she is quiet for most of the plane ride. She wants to admit her feelings but does not know how. In the middle of their flight, Haemi and Yeonhee talk. Haemi tells Yeonhee to take care of Kim. Haemi likes Kim so much that she does not want to stand in the way of his happiness, even if that means letting him go. The moment Kim and Haemi start talking, there is an emergency announcement. It seems that there is a patient in critical condition on the plane and they need help as soon as possible. Kim and Haemi get involved with the patient. He in critical condition and he seems to be a very important person. The plane cannot land at the moment, so this person will surely die if they do not step in. Kim is ready to perform an emergency operation. Haemi is worried about him and wants him to be careful. If Kim makes a mistake during this operation, he will be blamed and he will be convinced for a crime. Kim needs Haemi to help him as they can perform this together. The two of them focus up and slowly start the operation. Kim and Haemi are a truly great team and they are able to extract the problem. Kim does notice that something else is wrong with the patient. Haemi and Kim are able to finish the operation, but soon they find another clot. Kim has to get involved once more and Haemi supports his decision. Finally, they are able to find the second problem and stabilize the patient. After the plane lands, Haemi is very distant. She feels sad and alone. Kim notices that she is acting differently, but he does not want to bother her. Kim avoids reporters and pretends to know nothing about the miracle operation on the plane. When he arrives back at the hospital, there is a news report and they give all the credit to Kim. Kim is so angry that he is getting famous once again. Moonjun is pissed off at Kim because he is somehow the best, but he is also always angry about being the best. Kim is now really famous as the politician that he saved on the plane arrives to thank him. Haemi is supportive, but Kim does not want all this attention. It's all going against his original plan. Kim decides to take Haemi for a drink and some food since she has helped him so much. A very important test is coming up, and this is the final step for Kim to achieve his goal of being a dermatologist and earning a lot of money. Resident examination test is one of the most crucial tests a medical student can take. It basically determines their future in the field. Kim has asked Haemi to submit him for a dermatologist. He works really hard studying for the test and then while writing. Kim remembers that 7 years ago he had to pass a test while having a stomach ulcer, so this is much better. After the test is done, a few days pass. Finally, Moonjun tells Kim that the results are in. Moonjun was able to achieve everything he wanted and he is super happy. Kim reads his test results and he is literally the first in the state, but the problem is that he was submitted as a surgeon, not a dermatologist. Kim is really upset and he calls Haemi to find out what happened. She starts to cry and explains that she reported him to the dermatology department and she has no idea what happened. Kim calls the administration and they explain that it was a mistake on their part, but they cannot change it. Haemi arrives and she is in tears. She blames herself. In that moment, Kim hugs her and tells her that it's not her fault. While Kim and Haemi are hugging, Dr. Kang arrives with some flowers and bottles. Dr. Kang wants to celebrate with Haemi and with Kim, so they go grab some dinner together. They laugh and have some fun. Kim then admits that him becoming a surgeon was a mistake made by the administration. Dr. Kang thinks that this is for the best since his talents would be wasted being a dermatologist. This way, he can truly make a difference. After the dinner, Kim goes for a walk and thinks about his future as a surgeon. While it was not his first choice, he has a passion for that work. Kim realizes that the only reason he does not want to become a surgeon is to make the same mistakes he did in his first life. He just does not want to repeat his failed life from before. Kim finally decides that he can follow the surgeon's path and become the best of the best. Lee Sang-bin is actually behind the mistake. He got Kim into surgery because he wanted to beat him. Lee never considered Kim a friend. He is basically at war with him, but Kim does not know it. Lee Sangbin wants to be the best, and if Kim goes and becomes a dermatologist, he will never get a chance to be him. Lee is showing clear signs of his mind breaking and him becoming a very deranged villain. Kim starts to work as a surgeon, and every day is tiring. This is just as he expected. The other doctors think that he is just an intern, so they do not work well with him. Still, Kim keeps working hard, helping the patients and trying to do his best. In the meantime, Lee Sangbin's father and the evil chairman plans to destroy Kim and his surgeon career. He wants him gone so that Lee can be at first place finally. Kim is working all the time and he feels himself getting tired. This is the job of a surgeon, but he needs to keep going. Suddenly, a woman arrives with her husband. Her husband is not in good condition, and this woman begs Kim to save him. The resident doctor gets involved as he wants to prove he is better than Kim. The resident doctor also does not want to listen to Kim and his advice since he is just an intern. Suddenly, the patient starts to sew oxygen fast, and they have to save him. The resident doctor thinks that they need to administer a different therapy, but Kim knows that the patient does not have much time. They start to argue about the next step. The resident doctor acts very rashly because of his pride. He is certain that he knows more than Kim, so he tries to treat the patient his way. Kim realizes that they are running out of time, so he tells the resident doctor to get lost and let him handle this. Kim is then able to stabilize the patient in the last second. Kim did not want to be rude, but the patient did not have time for them to argue about rank. After this is done, Kim continues working and he is truly tired all the time. He barely sleeps and he is working all hours of the day. Amy offers him some support with her kind words. Kim has to sleep if he wants to continue working, so he finds a couch and plans to take a nap for a few hours. Suddenly, there is a hiking accident and a new patient is brought in. This patient is critical and he needs to be operated on. The chairman loves this as he wants Kim to fail, so he forces Kim to perform the surgery alone with nobody there to help. Kim can either operate on the nameless man or send him to another hospital. Kim knows that if he does not get involved right away, this man is for sure dead. With no other choice, Kim decides to perform the surgery himself. He does not want the patient to die. Everyone in the hospital thinks he is just a homeless man, so they do not care about him. Kim tries his best and he is able to save the patient. Not only that, but the patient fully recovered as the operation was a massive success. Soon Kim learns that the man he saved is called Jong Yun and he is a world-famous painter. When the chairman and his other evil co-workers find this out, they lose their minds. They tried to run Kim, but now he's going to be more popular than ever since he saved a celebrity. The evil chairman and his helpers try to replace Kim as the main doctor for the famous painter. Jong Yun, the painter who is famous all over Korea and the world, does not want anyone else than Kim. Kim saved his life, so he wants him as the main doctor. When the painter finally recovers and leaves the hospital, he thanks Kim for saving him. He even creates a painting of Kim saving him. This painting is put up in the hospital, and since the artist is very famous, Kim becomes even more beloved. The news coverage is insane, and basically all over the country they are praising Kim for being the best doctor ever. Kim hates the attention, but he realizes he cannot change it. Hammy is really sad as she is keeping her distance from Kim. She is convinced that he loves that other girl, and she does not want to cause any problems. While talking to her friend, she learns more about Kim. It seems that while the other girl may be like Kim, it's not certain that he likes her. Amy gets hope and her friend advises her to confess her feelings before it's too late. When Kim starts to date someone else, then it's all over. Amy goes shopping and she's really nervous about maybe admitting her feelings for Kim. Still, she wants to finally connect with him. In the meantime, we see that Kim is tired all the time. He does not have breaks and basically he is running on empty. Amy decides to confess her feelings, so she prepares a lot of food for Kim. She then calls him and arranges a meeting. When she arrives in his dorm, Kim looks super tired. His eyes are barely open. Amy realizes that she is now alone with Kim and she gets really nervous. She gives him the food and Kim loves it. He thanks Hammy and in that second he falls on her lap and falls asleep. Hammy in that moment realizes that she is truly in love with Kim, but she does not have the courage to tell him. When Kim wakes up, he misses Hammy right away. In that moment, he starts to realize that maybe he has also fallen in love with her without knowing. Later in the day, Kim has a meeting with a professor who works at the hospital. This professor has been involved with a lot of schemes in the hospital, but he tells Kim the truth. He tells him that the evil chairman wants Kim to fail as a surgeon. Kim is left worried after the meeting with the professor. Now he knows that the chairman is plotting to ruin him. He also thinks that Lee is involved. Kim does not know what he should do. Maybe it would be best for him to just quit surgery and try another field. While walking, Kim meets up with his high school friend who was also planning to become a doctor. This friend is now a police officer and he knows about Kim. He tells Kim that his father has a condition that has been getting worse, but the doctors have been postponing his operation. Kim goes to check the father's results and it's problematic. He could end up in the hospital any moment now. Before Kim can give his friend any advice, he gets a call. It seems that his father has already ended up in the hospital and he is in critical condition. Kim rushes to save him as fast as possible. The patient is suffering from an aortic aneurysm and there is a giant chance that he will die. Kim's high school friend is panicking. He does not want to lose his father. Kim promises that the hospital will do everything it can to save his father. Kim then tries to call the surgeons who are experts in this type of operation. The problem arises when Kim finds out that all the surgeons are at a special ceremony with the evil chairman. They are all drunk and basically the hospital is empty. There is nobody that can operate on the patient. Kim is frozen as he realizes that the patient is running out of time and he needs help. Kim tries to call everyone he can, but everyone is drunk. All the surgeons are having a party. Kim realizes if he does not take charge, the patient is dead for sure. He has mere minutes, not even an hour of life left. With no other choice, Kim prepares the operating room and gets ready. Moonjun will help him during the operation. Kim is actually very nervous as this type of operation can very easily lead to a fatality. In the meantime, the evil chairman is super happy. He will blame Kim if the patient dies, and that way Kim will be ruined forever. Kim and Moonjun start the operation, and right away, there is blood everywhere. Kim starts to lose control and he is not sure if he can save this man.